select.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. أما بعد، معكم المهندس طارق الوابل، نائب رئيس لجنة المقاولين غرفة الشرقية. بداية نشكر لكم التجاوب السريع والحضور في المحاضرة الأولى التي تقدمها غرفة الشرقية ممثلة بلجنة المقاولات. اللجنة أخذت على عاتقها محاولة تثقيف وتطوير أعمال القطاع بالمساهمة والمبادرة في طرح مثل هذه المحاضرات المجانية ممثلي القطاع والمهتمين خاصة المبتدئين للوصول إلى مقاولين أكثر احترافية. كما يوجد العديد من فعاليات المحاضرات القادمة بإذن الله. فقط نريد منكم تسجيل كامل بياناتكم لنتمكن من التواصل مستقبلا وأخذ مرئياتكم. الحقيقة في المحاضرات القادمة including يعني محاضرة اليوم اللي هي cost estimation حيكون في إن شاء الله planning و scheduling, contracts and specification, quality control, project management, performance management and finance management. حتكون يعني على عام 2012 و 2013 بمشيئة الله. كما ودنا نشكر أستاذ الدكتور علي شاش أستاذ إدارة المشاريع الهندسية بجامعة البترول سيقدم إن شاء الله المحاضرة الآن بالكوست استيميشن. يعني مدة المحاضرة ما يقارب الساعتين إلى الساعة 11 ونصف. تفضل دكتور.
شكرا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صبحكم الله بالخير جميعا. كان ودي في البداية على أساس أن تكون لغة المحاضرة تكون باللغة العربية، لكن هناك بعض الترمينولوجيز أو بعض المصطلحات اللي لازم تكون باللغة الإنجليزية، فحاول أن تكون ما بين العربية وما بين الإنجليزية. وأشوف في بعض الأخوان هنا يتحدثون بس اللغة الإنجليزية، فبنحاول أن نكون ما بين اللغتين. First of all, when we're talking about cost estimation, cost estimation is a process. If you are familiar with the construction industry or the production industry, if you are talking about all of those, you will see that from the point or from the start of any concept, when we start the concept until the completion and the use of the project, you are using the cost estimation. Cost estimation is a continuous. If you are looking at, for instance, the development process of a construction project, it will start with an idea, then you have the planning stage and the design stage. Later on, beside the design stage, you will have the procurement and then the construction and then the final and the use. And during this period, if you look at each phase, you will see that cost estimation is the one that it is used. Beside it is the cost control as well. So they are moving along the process of the construction from the start until the end. And before we start even looking at that, you can look at this, for instance. Look at this. We have several products in pricing. It goes from pens to rulers to watches to machines to cars and as well as to buildings. If we are looking at this and we would like to know what kind of cost estimate or how can we price all of those, you will see in general you will have the price for anything just like cars, pens, whatever you are paying for. It's going to be several things. You are paying for the direct material that you are holding in your hand, for instance like your car. And then beside that, for each car there were some kind of a direct labor, this direct labor. And then you will have indirect material and indirect manufacturing charges. All of those are necessary in order to price anything. Then after that, you will have the office overhead, the selling effort, and then everybody is looking for a certain profit for the services that they are providing. If you look at all of this, you will see that the direct material and the direct labor, they are the prime cost. This is where you are paying. This is what you are paying for as a direct cost. This is traceable, or it could be related to the product itself. This one is, if you are talking about, for instance, a manufacturing or a process manufacturing, this is the overhead for that. But beside this, there is an office overhead where it is located somewhere else. the president and the vice president and the accountant and everybody is located somewhere else. So this is the overhead and the ceiling. This is the manufacturing cost, and this is the full cost for the product. In the construction industry, for our project, for instance, what we are trying to do is to look at the bid price. It is similar to the general one, but it's totally different from the perspective of what it is going to be in. Okay? This one, it has the direct labor, direct material, indirect labor, indirect material as well. And there is the job overhead. This is the office or the site management. And then the contingency and profit. If I go back again, if I can. Okay. If we go back again to this area, all of those, they come to the price after manufacturing. So basically, everything that you are paying the price, it is well known. How much, what is the cost of light? What is the cost of tires? What is the cost? So at the end, you will be able to come up with a price. Clear? At the end, you will come and you calculate how much money, what are the material that is getting in, what is the price for each material, and then you add it up, and then you will get to the cost of the car. And then you add the profit, and this is what you are paying for. Okay? In the construction industry, if you're looking at a building that is already built, it is similar. This is what you are paying. But for something that you are going to build in the future, and it is not, it's always like something that is going to be built in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. It depends on the stage. For instance, if you are talking about a project that will start in the planning and then the design, it might take between 2 to 3, 4 years before the construction. And the construction is only about 2 years. The process itself, it takes between 4 to 8 years. The whole process, it depends. If you are talking about government project, it might take between 6 to 8 years. Private, it might take between 4 to 6 years. So you are talking about somebody who is making an estimate for something that might happen after 4 or 5 years. For the contractor themselves, when they come and pricing, they are pricing for something that might happen after 1 year or so. So this is the difference. And that's why we are saying, if you want to do it, then it is going to be, you try to hit the eyeball. Try to hit it. And this is where you have, if you are in the board, and if you start throwing the dart, and it is in the board, you are still safe. But the problem, when you are starting throwing things, and they are going to be outside the board. And this is what cost estimation is all about. Cost estimation is try to come to the reality of the project. If you look at the cost estimation technique that are available to you and you would like to use, there are so many different methods. And it all depends at what stage of the project. There are 2 methods. One method is called the approximate estimating, or الطريقة التقديرية, and the other one is the detailed estimating. If you are looking at the first one, the approximate estimate, we call it as the gross estimate. بما معناه the accuracy or الدقة for this, it is not as good as if you are breaking the whole project into components. It's going to be just like between 60 to 70% correct. Okay? There are so many different, but you are using it. You are using it. As a contractor, when somebody is coming and try to negotiate a price with you, you have to use it. You have to give them some kind of an indication what is going to be. So you can use so many different, but it all depends on the project that you are dealing with. If you are dealing with, for instance, building, the square meter of floor area is the perfect cost estimation technique. If you are using, for instance, for warehouses, then you have the cubic meter of volume. If you are using a process plant, then you are going to use the estimating by ratio or estimating by use or parameter estimating. The parameter estimating will come at a stage where this is what we consider it as the architect estimate. I'll show you why. And then you have factor estimating, and then this is a technique that we consider it as a range estimating to make the estimate between 2 points. So we are not trying to hit. Nobody will be able to tell you exactly that the project is going to cost about 3,000,000.5556. Nobody. So it's going to be 3.5 to 3.7 or to 3.2 or whatever. There is a range that it could be looked at. So if we look at the square meter method, it is very simple and it is very easy. Basically, it is approximate cost of the proposed building. It is the area of the proposed building multiplied by the cost. And here we go. This is one of the most important part of it. This is easy. You can calculate it. But this is where you have to look at. You have to bring it from somewhere. And definitely your record as a contractor is the source for this. I will show you how to build this record. It is very, very important and very, very essential. If you look at the total floor area, it is area of one floor multiplied by the number of floors. Okay? And then the area of one floor, look at it. It is not from the inner dimension. It is from the outside to the outside. From the outside to the outside. Why? Because you would like to include the cost of the wall as well. So it is not only about the inner dimension. It is the whole dimension. So you can see that the square is the gross area measured to the outside of the perimeter of all spaces used for daily living or business. I think this thing is dying. I think it's dying. So if we look at this, and then you can say there are many cost variation. There are so many different ways of looking at the cost estimate by square meter. First of all, it could be price per square meter for each floor, including basement. Could be. It could be different unit price for basement because it's totally different from the first floor, the second floor, the third floor. And every time that you are going higher up in the elevation of the building, the cost is getting higher as well. So that's why it varies. All what we are trying to do over here is just to make our initial cost estimate as accurate as possible, to come to closer to the reality. Unit price for different floors, unit price for all floors, omitting both the basement and the roof. Tara Akhwan, if you have any question, please, you can ask, even while I'm speaking. Now, how can we build this cost or the rate? There are several things that we need to do. First of all, record. Record keeping is very important. What kind of things that we would like to keep record on? Accurate description of the project. So you have to describe the project. So you have to have a category for instance, for villas, for buildings, apartment buildings, office buildings if you are doing that. And then what is the size? The size, how many story building that is going to be? What is it occupant? For instance, if you are talking about villas, how many bedrooms that is going to be? How many floors? What are the materials that are used? Okay? What is the grade for construction? Is it, yeah, maybe the battery. Okay? And then you have the final cost. What is the final cost? The actual cost for the whole project. Is it working? All right? So you have also the cost per square, date of construction. It is very important to also to mention what is the date. Yesterday's real is totally different from today's real. So that's why we have to keep track on the cost of construction. The length of the construction also, because that will tell you what kind of money that we are talking about. Are we talking about money that is like 1985 or year 2005? It makes a big difference. There is another source that it's not available to us, but I know a lot of contractors, they use it. This is used for the American industry. It's called like means manual, but I